We're reading from the book of Kings, and we're reading about Shlomo, Solomon. How wonderful to read about Shlomo. He said a lot of things, didn't he? A lot of things he has talked about, a lot of wisdom. He was much better in his earlier kingship than in his mid and latter one, because as he began to devolve with the mixture of foreign women and their foreign temples and foreign gods that he erected, and that eventually caused a judgment on Israel. But at least we can talk about how he started off well. Then Shlomo assembled all the leaders of Israel, all the heads of the tribes and the chiefs of the paternal clans of the people of Israel, to King Shlomo and Yerushalayim, to bring the ark for the covenant of Adonai out of the city of David, also known as Zion.
So the city of David is on Mount Zion. Now, there are many people today that say that the temple was actually in the city of David and not on the Temple Mount. Well, if it was in the city of David, it wouldn't say that they were bringing the ark out of the city of David. So that puts an end to that. But nevertheless, the city of David is the root of what people now say Zionism, where it's the zeal for Zion, which is Mount Zion. If you ever wonder why people are called Zionist, that's the reason. It's the mountain in Jerusalem, right next to Mount Moriah, which is a temple mount, where the city of David is located.
And that zeal, because David had a zeal for God, he had a zeal for Adonai, a zeal for the temple, a zeal for a nation, a zeal to protect it, a zeal to expand it, a zeal to grow it, a zeal to lead it, appointed as leader. That's what it means. Because God did, after all, if Zionist is about a land and a place, well, Zionism started when Abraham was called to a land. I will give you a land that you do not know. It was codified after the Exodus when they entered Canaan with Joshua. A land. I'll give you houses you did not build, vineyards you did not plant. I'm giving you a land. I'm taking it from the Canaanites who have perverted, polluted land. I'm giving it to you. The parable of the talents. Take from that one who's not using it and abusing it and give it to the other ones who are doing what's right with it. Praise Papa.
And you're never gonna get this unless you acknowledge the authority of God. So you can argue all day long and say the Israelites came and they took it from the Canaanites and genocide and all of that mess, and the Philistines and the Palestinians, and you can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter. God is real. God is truth. It's His land. He decides who to give it to. Just like you, if you have a house, if you have a car, you decide. You take it from one child that doesn't do justice, you give it to another. The Lord has the same right and more. It's His land.
And it is the only nation on the earth and the only people on the earth who were given a land and didn't take it, given by God, allotted to them by God, not by their own interest, not by their own endeavor, not by their own dreamed up manifest destiny. God did that. God gave them that. Now, when I look at the founding of most countries, most nations, and if you look at a modern map, if you don't know history, that most of all of the modern maps are completely 1000% incorrect. Those are lands carved up by men, not by God. All the men of Israel assembled before King Shlomo at the festival in the month of Etanim, the 7th month.
That would be the festival of Sukkot, in what they call nowadays Tishrei. But back in the day, the original months were given a number, not a name. So the 7th month The first month is in Aviv, in the spring, the month of Pesach, and you count 7 months. It brings us to the fall, the month of Tishrei, and the festival is Sukkot, Tabernacles.
Yes, until the Romans came around and gave you all goddess days and pagan days, perverted God's Sabbath, perverted the names of the week, perverted the names of the months. Yes. And we're now still living under that paganism, iconography, branding, and labeling. All the leaders of Israel came. The Kohanim took the ark and brought up the ark of Adonai, the tent of meeting, and all the holy utensils that were in the tent. These are what the Kohanim and Levim brought up. King Shlomo and the whole community of Israel assembled in his presence, where with him in front of the ark, sacrificing sheep and oxen and numbers beyond counting or recording. We don't even know what those numbers are. The Kohanim brought the ark for the covenant of Adonai into its place inside the sanctuary of the house. Now, we should probably take about 30 seconds just to remind people what is the Ark of the Covenant, real quick, and sum it up real quick.
In the days of Moshe, the days of the Exodus in the desert, the Lord wanted to dwell amongst his people, but, well, the people are human beings, born in sin, conceived in iniquity. They were not holy. The Lord, who is perfect, could not dwell in impure houses. He's a consuming fire, and they all would have died. So he ordered Moshe to sanction a place, a temporary dwelling, called the tent of meeting, or Ohel Moed in Hebrew. And within that tent, they placed a few artifacts symbolizing the light of the world, this menorah with the 7 candle posts, the 12 showbread on the table, the incense, the altar of incense, the prayers of the people, and together all of these things were sanctifying the way, sanctifying the priest, the representation of the people, to approach the throne of God, which was made manifest in the physical universe behind the veil where the Ark of the Covenant was with the mercy seat. The Ark of the Covenant was a box containing within it the tablets of the covenant. The ones written by God, the original ones, were broke. Moshe broke them, and then he carved out new ones, which he gave to God, and the Lord put his inscription on them as well as a testimony. It's really a symbolic ketubah in the Jewish tradition. Upon marriage, you have a ketubah, which is like a marital contract laying down the expectations of the other person of the relationship, what is required of the bride, of the husband, the conjugal obligations. So it really is a marital contract. And with that was a jar of the manna from the desert as a sign, as a memorial for the people to be a witness against them, how the Lord provided for them 40 years in an habitable place in the desert. He sustained them in an unsustainable place, and the staff of Aharon the high priest as a testimony that the Lord chooses whom serves in his presence. Because all the people grumbled, the rebellion of Korach in number 17, they said, "Why are you leading over us? We're all the same," etc. And the Lord said, "Everybody from every clan bring a staff, and I will show you whom is my chosen servant." So all of these things were serving as a covenant, as a testimony, and they were all contained within the Ark of the Covenant.
And that symbology and iconography represents so much. Think about it. The showbread, the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes. He's the manna, bread of heaven. Bethlehem, house of bread. Partake, that's what you do with Pesach for your Passover. The bread, the body that sustains you. Eat of my bread, you'll never hunger again. The menorah, the light of the world. He's the light. And then he says, you be light. Be light to the Gentiles. Shine forth the light. Be a reflection of the sun. We're like moons. And what is a moon but a satellite of a sun or a planet? It reflects. It orbits around other objects, reflecting the light of the greater object. We are to reflect the light. And the staff is the appointee, the shepherd's staff. And the purpose of that, to mediate between the sheep and the owner. It has a purpose. The prayers, the spirit, the aroma, the incense, they go up before God. Yeshua embodies all of it. And of course, the Torah. And it's interesting that we talk about the old covenant and the new covenant. The old one is broken. The new one, with his inscription again, behold, I'm going to do a new thing. You can imagine broken because your hearts were stubborn and resistant against God's Torah. So God, I'm breaking it, but not really breaking it. I'm doing a new one. And it's going to have all of the elements of the old one, only it's a new one that's fulfilling. And as we're going to discover, we tend to believe that that's the one that remained in the story was the new one. Let's read. And it says, the Kohanim brought the ark for the covenant of Adonai into its place inside the sanctuary of the house to the especially holy place under the wings of the cherubim.
For the cherubim spread out their wings over the place for the ark, covering the ark and its poles from above. The poles were so long that their ends could be seen from the holy place in front of the sanctuary, but they could not be seen from outside. They are there to this day. So it's talking about really the design of the place. It was a really magnificent construction. If you read in chapter 6 and 7, it has all of the details, all of the blueprints and the measurements. If you're into construction, you can get a wonderful experience reading these details. There was nothing in the ark except the 2 tablets of stone which Moshe put there at Horeb, when Adonai made a covenant with the people of Israel at the time of their leaving the land of Egypt. So remember, we just talked about what was put in the ark, but along the way, you read the book of Judges and you realize that the people of Israel had a very tumultuous journey. The ark spent a little bit of time with the Philistine and it moved from here to there, and along the way these things were taken away. And it is very interesting because we do see that play out over and over again. The Lord gives us an abundance, but when we're not acting right, He gradually takes more and more away from us. Adam was created pretty much an eternal being. He didn't have to eat. The Lord did not say, eat or you shall die. He just said, don't eat from that or you shall die. But we lost that right, and He told Israel, if you do what I tell you, you will not get sick. I will prosper your children. I will take care of the land. Well, they didn't obey, so they lost that blessing. And you can see how by this time in history, all that was left in the Ark of the Covenant were the 2 tablets of stone. So when the Kohanim came out of the holy place, the cloud filled the house of Adonai, so that because of the cloud, the Kohanim could not stand up to perform their service, for the glory of Adonai filled the house of Adonai. Now, later we know this already, reading it in the future. Eventually, the house was destroyed, and the Ark of the Covenant has been completely obliterated, disappeared. And in one of the prophets, I think Jeremiah, when he's talking about the future, he said the ark will not even be called to memory. Nobody would even remember it anymore. which really comes to show you we've lost the ark too, we've lost the tablets, we've lost the temple. But here's the good news: the Lord Adonai is a God of restoration. So even though he has wounded, he will heal. Even though he put to death, he also maketh alive. And Shlomo said, Adonai said he would live in a thick darkness. The word in Hebrew is arafel, which is like a mist or a very thick cloud, because, man cannot see God and live. The brightness of God is so bright, he has to cloak himself in this very thick cloud, or else we would all die. But I have built you a magnificent house, a place where you can live forever. Well, he means well. Surely the Lord does not live in houses made by men, but Shlomo meant well. And the king turned around and blessed the whole community of Israel. The whole community of Israel stood, as he said, Blessed be Adonai, the God of Israel, who spoke to my father David with his mouth and fulfilled his promise with his hand. He said, Since the day I brought my people Israel out of Egypt, I chose no city from any of the tribes of Israel in which to build a house, so that my name might be there. But I did choose David to be over my people Israel. Now, it was in the heart of David, my father, to build a house for the name of Adonai, the God of Israel. But Adonai said to David, my father, Although it was in your heart to build a house for my name, and you did well that it was in your heart, nevertheless, you will not build the house. Rather, you will father a son, and it will be he who will build the house for my name. Now, and the reason for that, as we read in, I think it's 1st or 2nd Chronicles, and also in 1st Samuel, 2nd Samuel, I don't remember exactly, when Nathan, the prophet, is talking to David about it. David had a lot of blood on his hands. He was a warrior king. He killed a lot of people. And the Lord is holy. He's the God of life, not the God of death. So even though David has the right heart, said, the Lord wanted his house to be built with clean hands. So he said, well, I appreciate the gesture. Your son will do it. And Adonai has fulfilled the spoken word of his. For I have succeeded my father, and sit on the throne of Israel, as Adonai promised. And I have built the house for the name of Adonai, the God of Israel. And there I have made a place for the ark containing the covenant of Adonai, which he made with our ancestors when he brought them out of the land of Egypt.
Hallelujah. You can see the trajectory. You can see the ark of God, the prototype, the symbology. You can see the Lord's track record. You can see his nature. You can see his attributes. And it's encouraging. Not only is it encouraging, it's awe-inspiring, it's daunting, it's humbling. So we should not be surprised at the blessings, nor should we be surprised at the judgments. We see what God does. He's already shown us the pattern. We already know his moves on the football field of the universe because he's the same and he never changes. It's amazing how people don't like the God of the Old Testament as if he put on a new dress in the New Testament. No, you don't realize, first of all, he's never shown all of himself anyway. He's continuously revealed. And that's why he says, I didn't abolish, I am fulfilled. I'm giving you another revelation in addition to the ones you already have. You're just seeing more of me, by the way. And it doesn't stop with Jesus on the cross, who came as, behold, the Lamb of God, as Yohanan said. God's Lamb, God's Lamb. He hasn't come as Messiah yet, by the way. Don't forget that. He hasn't come as the term of the Messiah as the deliverer, the earthly kingdom. People are so ethereal, but God is very material. He made a material world, and you are a material being, a hybrid of sort, a spirit that is also joined like a cyborg to the mechanics of matter, minerals and salt and dust and carbon and gases and hydrogen. Yeah, the way they do in the movie Terminator and the Matrix, mixing the machine with the organic matter. No wonder men are constantly trying to be like God. Everything is just everybody trying to replicate God. All of this is just about a replication of God trying to be God. But he already did it, and nobody does it better. He's coming back to establish his kingdom. You're not going to be floating in clouds. It'll be in Jerusalem for 1,000 years, an earthly kingdom. You're not being resurrected to float in clouds with white feathered Victoria wings, eating bonbons and being in the shape of some Cupid pagan angel baby. That's not the way it works. Start turning the Lord into a fairy tale, a story of fiction, Noah's Ark, as if it's some Disney Nickelodeon cartoon. This is real stuff, people. Blood and guts and war and spirit and beings and flashings of lights and thunders and the voice of God. Real stuff, real joy, real utopia, not fantasy, not fiction, real beauty, not made up and make up, real, natural, glorious colors of light and energy. And in a fallen world, the real dangers and pitfalls, chasms and abysses in which to lose ourselves or to find ourselves until he who is perfect comes to establish that which is imperfect, renovated, reconstituted, and sanctified to make it a place of dwelling like he did in the desert after the Exodus, a tent he can dwell. And it's going to be wonderful. Until then, there's a temporary dwell. We are literally Sukkots. We are walking Sukkots. We're walking tabernacles, temporary. And I think that's why David was allowed to build what God did not ask for. You're going to build something for me? I'm not in a building. I can't be contained in a building. What are you doing? But it was a representation that God allowed for a bigger message to us. Eventually, I will build New Jerusalem myself. You go ahead and do your little mock-up. What David built is peons. It's like an architect drawing a scaled down version of what he's going to build eventually. And when you look at what the designer, the creator, the master of the universe has got in planned, yeah, there won't be a atmosphere anymore because that thing is so big and so tall, it's going to go way up into the stratosphere. The Lord's got greater things prepared. We are just a sample, walking little Sukkots in a desert world. He said to live like an alien, a desert world. Be prepared to get up and leave. So we are a tabernacle for him to dwell in. The Lamb came first as the Lamb to make the offering that you're hearing that they're making here for that temple. He came to make the offering for the ultimate temple. Then he shall return and establish his kingdom.
So, just building up on what Stephen said, the Lord never asked for a temple to be built, right? We are temporary, which is why the Lord wanted to remain in the tent. His original intent was to dwell in us, which is why you can see even here Yeshua fulfilling the temple. Yeshua came, he said, he quoted that verse from the Psalm, "You have given me a body. The offerings and sacrifices you do not delight in. You have given me a body." He came to atone and to prepare, and we know that he is now in the heavenly tabernacle as high priest, making atonement and intercession for us. The Lord is spirit. Those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth. And he told that woman in the book of John, the day is coming when you will not worship in Jerusalem nor in Shomron, but you will worship the Lord in spirit and truth, because it's never been about the building. The building serves a purpose, but it's never been about the building. And what happened in religion of the Jews and eventually the pagan Jews who don't understand they're Jewish, calling themselves Christians, it's all Jewish. You worship the God of the Jews, but nevertheless, you became so obsessed with the temple, the building, the location, that you completely left out the spirit. And the Lord will fix it when he comes back, so don't worry about it too much. And he continued, When Shlomo stood before the altar of Adonai, in the presence of the whole community of Israel, spread out his hands toward heaven and said, Adonai, God of Israel, there is no God like you in heaven above or on earth below. You keep covenant with your servants and show them grace, provided they live in your presence with all their heart. So, wait a minute, you're telling me there's a condition? Oh, think about this for a moment. What did Yeshua say when he was asked about divorce? He said, except for grounds of fornication and adultery. What does that mean? If the other party breaches the agreement, you are no longer obligated to respect it. So you have no grounds for divorce, except if they cheat on you. And the Lord said, you keep covenant, show them grace, provided they live in your presence with all their heart. If they're faithful, you are faithful. The Lord will not violate his faithfulness. But if we violate ours, there are consequences. You have kept your promise to your servant David, my father. You spoke with your mouth and fulfilled it with your hand, so it is today. Now, therefore, Adonai, God of Israel, keep what you promised to your servant David, my father, when you said, You will never lack a man in my presence to sit on the throne of Israel. If only, there's that word again, if only your children are careful about what they do, so that they live in my presence, just as you have lived in my presence. Remember what he told Abraham. Walk in my presence and be blameless. The word in Hebrew is tamim, pure-hearted, blameless. Be upright. The Lord is spirit. The whole earth is his presence. It doesn't mean only walk right when you go into a building. Just be good on Sunday morning in your church and be a devil the rest of the week. No. To walk in the presence of God is everyday living, wherever you are, whenever you are. Now therefore, God of Israel, please let your word, which you spoke to your servant David, my father, be confirmed. But, this is where he's touching on what we said. Can God actually live on the earth? Why, heaven itself, even the heaven of heavens, cannot contain you. So how much less this house I have built? Even so, Adonai my God, pay attention to your servant's prayer and plea. Listen to the cry and prayer that your servant is praying before you today, that your eyes will be open towards this house night and day, toward the place concerning which you said, My name will be there, to listen to the prayer your servant will pray towards this place. So, this is another verse that you can see being fulfilled in Yeshua, if you think about it. Yeshua never told us to pray to him. We don't pray to Yeshua, we pray in the name of Yeshua. Christians pray to Jesus. Jesus is not God. Jesus prayed to God. Jesus, Yeshua, was the way. He said, I am the way. He wasn't the destination. The Lord, the Father, the Creator is the destination. So just like here when Solomon says, pray towards this place, Yeshua is the mediator. You pray towards Yeshua through the name Yeshua to make your intercession and make your plea before the King of Kings. So when people say they have a direct connection to God, well, not really. You have in the sense that you can approach the way to God on your own. You do not need another man to come between you and the Lord, but Yeshua is not just a man. Yeshua is the way. He is the Word of God. So yes, you do need a mediator, and they always needed. Whether it is a temple, whether it was a high priest, whether it was an offering and a sacrifice to atone for your sin, man in his fallen nature cannot approach the King of Kings. It is the King of Kings that can approach you. Just like Esther and Achashverosh. She said, I can't just come before the king anytime. I will surely die. Unless he extends that scepter. But that is his prerogative. And the Lord said, I will give grace to whomever I choose to give grace, and I will give mercy to whomever I choose to give mercy. So Stephen and I both know of Jewish people that love God, they love the Torah, and they haven't accepted Yeshua yet, but when we listen to them, we can tell they know the Lord. The way they speak, the way they act, the way they live. And I was wondering, well, how do they know the Lord? They haven't still come to the realization of Yeshua. And the Lord put that verse in my heart. I will give grace to whomever I give grace. Don't get so full of yourself thinking, oh, I'm Christian, all these Jews, they don't believe in Jesus, all Jews are going to hell, it's the synagogue of Satan. No. You have no idea what you're talking about. More Jews that do not acknowledge Yeshua will enter the kingdom of heaven than alleged Christians who don't even follow what Yeshua was teaching and doing.
And that's a question. Can you acknowledge Yeshua and deny the Father and enter into heaven? And the answer to that question is no, you cannot. Is God divided? Is God divided? Is not Yeshua a reflection of the Father? Hello? Did not Yeshua come from the Father? Hello? Is he not fulfilling the Father's will? Is not the purpose of Yeshua to reconcile the hearts of the children to the Father? He's the mediator, the shepherd, the go-in-between, the Aharon priesthood. Hello? The intercessor, the mediator, the propitiator of our sin. So don't say Christian as if that's a get out of jail free pass key card, all bets off, you're in, don't worry, you're done. Those are lies you hear from preachers in giant crusades and stadiums that make it so cheap for you to come to him so easily. Even Yeshua says what? Anyone who follows me, pick up the cross. Anyone who follows me must first abandon mother, father, brother, sister of this world and choose me. Anyone who follows me must consider, are you able to drink of the cup that I drink of? Anyone that follows me has to understand the world's going to hate you. You saw what they did to me. They're going to do worse to you. You were the servant. I was the master. Are you prepared? And every disciple, Jewish disciples, all of them were Jews. Every last one of them died a horrible death. John, even alone on the Isle of Patmos. People, they all suffered and willfully gave up their lives for their faith in Adonai and following God's Torah through the Lamb of God, Yeshua, who said, whatever you ask the Father in my name, not whatever you ask me, whatever you ask the Father in my name, our Father which art in heaven, our Father, Abba, Adonai, Hashem, shepherd, but your soul belongs to Papa. And he came to redeem and sent a redeemer, kinsman redeemer, an intercessor. That's what you see in the story of Esther with Boaz. He's letting you know how it works. So don't think you get a pass just because you have a cross on your neck or you attend a Bible study church. Don't you get it? Stop playing with God. A man cannot serve two masters. You can't be drunk and sober. You're either sober or you're not. No drunkard should enter in. Don't you know that? No liar can stand before him. You who lie when you speak, cunningly, cleverly, working your words to deceive and to trick like a serpent at the tree. And there's no doubt that most of you with crosses and Bibles are the liars and the drunks. Because the devil comes as an angel of light, devil, Persian term. The actual biblical term wouldn't be devil, the adversary, Satan. You're an adversary to Father, a pretender, a poser. And who does that? People in light. People that are filthy and dirty, but put on makeup to make you think they're pretty and clean. They're not. They're diseased. You can put a suit on a pig. It's still a pig. You can put them in a fancy car, living in a nice luxury apartment, behind gated places, driving Mercedes and Maseratis like the man I used to work for, still a devil, while he was attending a temple. Synagogue of Satan, religious churches, people that just go through the motions without devotion, not committed to God at all. You are the player, the poser, the pimp, the prostitute, and you're the one that's proselytizing. When the Lord simply say, be an example, it is no wonder you have such a hard time accepting a man like myself and Guy. So no wonder you do. No wonder you struggle. You've been in the mess in the sewer so long you couldn't tell good nutrition if it slapped you in the face. You've been living off of ultra-processed lies, deception, religion, and theology, philosophies of men, traditions and customs, rituals and ceremonies, mixed and matched with the paganism that God said not to do, to be holy, set apart, and kosher. But you're not. That's why you can't hear when we speak. You can't see when you meet us. You can't comprehend, you can't understand, because you refuse to turn around, to teshuva, to repent, to walk away, to put off that weight that besets you. You hear what's right and don't do what's right. You think it's a joke, you think it's fun, you think it's a dance, you think it's a song, but you don't take it real and you don't take it serious. And what do you think is going to be the outcome of that? Because the genie in the bottle is not the God that you serve. He's no genie in the bottle. He's no fairy tale. He's no matchmaker. He's no Cupid with an arrow. He's not your lucky charm. He's not a rabbit's foot. He's not your lucky coin. He is your God, your master, your creator. You're not doing him a favor to serve you. He did you a favor to give you the privilege to serve him, to be called sons and daughters of God. That's the term. To be adopted and grafted, joined in to the chosen ones who had a commission not to proselytize any Gentile, but to be a light to them. To be a light. You don't have to proselytize. Just be a light. Let them see you. Let them hear you. Let them see how you're living for him. Be a light. They can do whatever they want to do. They're not my children. If they want to join, they can, but make sure you let them know what the requirement is. To be willfully submitted to God, not forcefully like the Muslims do, to be willfully submitted to him and joyfully come. Your people should be my people. Your God should be my God. Oh, I see now that you are. Praise Papa. Isn't that what he wants from us? And that was the purpose of the Hebrew people being called and anointed as the nation of Israel, to be an example to all the nations, not because they were better, but because God set up a plan to bring everybody who was as they are, lost and without an answer, without a name, And he gave them a name so they wouldn't have to go around like the Hindus naming a million different names, so they wouldn't be confused and say, whatever pronoun. No, I'm not going to give you whatever pronoun you wake up this morning want to believe. I'm going to give you how I want to be known. Isn't that what you tell people? This is how I want you to call me. This is how you address me this way. Well, God has already told you how to address him. You don't have to like it, but you do have to obey it if you want to live. If you want to live, come with me. Follow me as I follow the Lord. Be imitators of me as I'm an imitator of the Messiah, Paul said. That's the point. You're not really following the leader. You're following what the leader is following. If somebody's in front of a caravan, you're following the one who's going to where the direction is. And that's the one you can see immediately in front of you. That's what he means by fathers train up your children. Why? You're not it. God is. But you were to point them in that direction. They got to follow you because you're in front. And if you're leading the caravan and leading them the wrong way, it's because you don't know the way. People can follow you if you were following him. They can listen to you if you were listening to him. They can submit to you if you were submitted to him. They can serve you if you're serving him. Who are you serving? Who are you following? Who are you listening to? Besides that perverted walnut in between your two ears and the walnut between a bunch of other people that are like you. Birds of a feather flock together. You love the lies and you follow the other ones because they're like you. You got to find something that's not like you. If you're messed up, find someone who's not messed up like you. If you don't know, find somebody who knows more than you. If you're not seeing clearly, find somebody who can see clearly. And like a blind man, they'll take you by the hand and they'll lead you. You've got to seek truth. And you've got to seek the Lord. It is what the ark represents. It's what it embodies. It becomes a center of the Jewish community. We come together under one truth, one spirit, so that all of our little mini spirits won't go our many directions, but follow the one. Shema, O Israel, the Lord is one. Amen.